All right, two major rulings in the Supreme Court on its final day before summer recess. The decisions dealt a blow to the president's student loan forgiveness program, as well as LGBTQ protections. So we start with the case that pitted gay rights against a Colorado web designer's claims of free speech and religious freedom. The justices ruled 6-3 in favor of Lori Smith, who sued over the state's anti-discrimination law. She did not want to create websites for same-sex weddings. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote for the community and the majority, saying First Amendment protections, saying the First Amendment envisions the United States as a rich and complex place where all persons are free to think and speak as they wish, not as the government demands. In her dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote, for the first time in its history, the court grants a business open to the public a constitutional right to refuse to serve members of a protected class. Now, critics worry that could open up the door to widespread discrimination. So Kenny Choi is in the studio with us today, and he's been getting reaction from the potential impact.
Julia, that's right. LGBTQ advocates say that this ruling undermines non-discrimination laws that took so long to establish. It's a fact-specific case, as one law professor told me today, but there are concerns for marginalized groups who feel like they're being treated like second-class citizens.
On the last day celebrating Pride, the LGBTQ community faces the reality of a Supreme Court decision it says will embolden efforts to chip away at decades of fighting for equality.
It's incredibly disappointing that the Supreme Court decided for the first time ever to undermine non-discrimination laws.
Sarah Warbelow and the Human Rights Campaign say more than 500 anti-LGBTQ bills have been introduced in 41 states this year alone, and that the community is living in a state of emergency.
And we know that there are actors who are out there who want to strip LGBTQ people of all of our rights, including the ability to marry. And that's why we continue to be vigilant.
Lori Smith, the web designer at the center of the case, has said she happily serves LGBTQ customers who seek other kinds of websites, but not for gay weddings.
It's a hard case for the 21st century, and it's just going to get harder.
Rory Little teaches constitutional law at UC Law San Francisco.
This decision is really a very fact-specific decision, but it creates a zone of immunity for people in the commercial sector to be able to discriminate.
The ruling suggests artists, photographers, and writers are among those who can refuse to offer what the court called expressive services, if doing so goes against their beliefs.
It's a hard case because we do think some people online should have the First Amendment right to express themselves. The question is, when you're selling to the public, you're selling a product to the public, can you refuse to sell that product based on discriminations that we think legally should be inappropriate?
All right, so we do know that the LGBT community is worried about the ramifications, the bigger picture, especially when it comes to same-sex marriage laws. What did you hear on that?
Yeah, so this is their biggest concern. Legal scholars emphasize that this ruling has absolutely no bearing on same-sex marriage laws. But when you talk to the LGBT community, they say that groups looking to take cases like this one that we saw in Colorado all the way to the Supreme Court will undoubtedly try to weaken established laws like same-sex marriage in the future.